This world'll take a good man and they change him to a villain. When the system's been set up by racists trying to kill him.
What's up, people? Welcome back to the BCMA podcast. That's the Black Clover Martial Arts podcast. It's your boy Lucky from Lucky's Muay Thai, and this is episode number 82. It's been a while. I haven't talked to you since right at the end of the year. There's a lot of things going on, so here we are, 2024. And in this episode, we'll talk a little bit about UFC 297 Toronto, du Plessis versus Strickland, like literally a little bit about it. We'll talk about the social commentary. Not that it's necessary, but I guess we need to because it was addressed so many other times. And then Francis Ngannou is fighting Anthony Joshua. We'll get into it. But first, if you like the show, tap the like, hit the subscribe button, tell a friend, drop a comment below. It helps the algorithm, I've been told. I don't really know. If you want to stop by the gym, hit us up, www.luckysmt.com. We have a fantastic Muay Thai program there. I love it. I built it. I made it. And I made it for you. And that is all of you. So please swing through. If you want to try jiu-jitsu, Roberto Carrero is a fantastic jiu-jitsu instructor. He is my jiu-jitsu instructor. He just competed this last weekend and won gold again. If you want to swing by, hit us up, www.luckysmt.com. Check out Roberto Carrero at CarreroBJJ on Instagram. You can hit me up directly at Lucky's Muay Thai on Instagram. And we are looking forward to meeting you and getting you started on your Muay Thai or jiu-jitsu journey. All right. Francis Ngannou, once again, defying the odds. He will be fighting Anthony Joshua, which is absolutely insane. I don't know what else there is to say left about Francis Ngannou, other than he is writing one of the greatest sports stories, if not one of the greatest stories of all time, human being stories even. I mean, people love a good sports story. Conor was, on welfare, and Tyson Fury was depressed and suicidal, and yo, it's crazy. This man is about to get paid. He's probably going to make $20 million this time. I mean, I was going to do this whole thing about, how the Arab money and how they love fighting and all that stuff. And I was going to get into ADCC, which is Abu Dhabi Combat Club, and how that whole thing is just, I think, was the actual doorway into how big mixed martial arts is in like Saudi Arabia and all those different places, and how they're doing tons of huge fights and paying tons of money because they have the money to spend. And in fact, they just told Dana White of the UFC that whatever show they were doing in March, they were like, nah, if you're going to do a fight over here, we're paying all this money, you got to bring us a bigger and better fight. So once again, Ngannou is winning. Joshua wins too. He's getting paid, and I mean, he's going to be the favorite. So I mean, Joshua went from saying, I don't want to do any, what do you call them, gimmick fights, and I'm interested in fighting the best, to watching what he did to Tyson Fury and going, okay, this is no longer a gimmick fight. This is a legit fight, and I'm down to legitimately do it. So we'll be looking forward to whenever that's happening. Did I put it down? I don't think they actually, maybe they did and I didn't write it down, but I'll make my pick when the time is right. Once again, Francis Ngannou, we are living in his story. Doesn't seem to be living in ours. We are enjoying it. So I suggest that you just enjoy it, man, and take it for what it's worth. Man, what a crazy, crazy life story. And it also proves, once again, that you can do anything if you put your mind to it and make the efforts. Because, I mean, look at this man. Okay. Du Plessis versus Strickland. I wasn't really excited about anything on this card. The Toronto fans were, screaming F Trudeau and stuff about Biden and whatever. I don't know. It seems like it's becoming a lot. I guess it's just the way the fans are for whatever reason about this sport. I don't know when they became this way or if they've just always been this way. I'm assuming they've just always been this way. But it feels like it's okay to be a part of one thing in this sport and not okay to say something about other things in the sport. And yet the president of said, at least this organization, and said president of this organization says, hey man, it's free speech. So, it is what it is. My thing about asking for social commentary from specific people is, before we even get into this, I'm only going to talk about the main card and the co-main, honestly. But I have no reason to defend Sean Strickland whatsoever. My defense is of, first of all, there is free speech. Secondly, if you already know a person's sort of stance or beliefs or whatever the case may be, and you then choose to further ask the same person basically the same questions again, and then begin to prod said person, I mean, I don't know what you're expecting is going to happen. That people like Sean Strickland that believe what they believe are not going to change because you think they should, and they're not going to give you any different idea because you asked the question maybe differently, or because you inferred that they were some sort of bad person because they answered the question earlier a certain way, and do they want to change their answer, or whatever the case may be. Like, the deal with asking people like Sean Strickland, stuff like that, and not that he can't speak and speak on whatever he wants, but if you don't want to get answers that may be contrary to, what the norms may be, or what people believe they should be, or whatever the case may be, my thing is, don't ask hurt people questions about society. Don't ask hurt people questions about society, because society failed them. Society failed them. So in what reality are you going to believe that somehow they're going to have some amazing social commentary on society that somehow crosses all boundaries and brings all people together? And it doesn't usually work that way. Usually, they'll have negative feelings. And, this man was just on Theo Von's podcast tearing up about his past history with his family. So clearly he is dealing with his own sufferings, and he may have certain beliefs. I mean, he's obviously changed his beliefs about some things. I mean, his life has changed tremendously. And if you expect a person like that has been through that kind of trauma to change everything in their lives, everything in their beliefs overnight, or expect them to change at all, well, I mean, this is one of those ask dumb questions, you ask stupid questions, get stupid answers. I don't know what you're expecting to get. If I ran into Sean Strickland, I would probably want to talk to him about fighting, if I even wanted to talk to him about anything. I definitely wouldn't want to know what his beliefs are about society and all that. I mean, he may give them freely, but it's not something that I'm interested in. And I don't believe there was any reason to further it. If you didn't want to hear it, why ask questions more about it so you can hear it again and put it out there further? The fans of this particular organization, not even all MMA fans, but specifically of this organization, 100% support Sean's ability to say the crazy shit he wants to say. None of them care. Very few. And if they do, they suffer in silence because they know the large majority of these people don't give a shit. So, Sean Strickland's going to say what Sean Strickland's going to say. I mean, I've heard all kinds of things from all kinds of fighters about all kinds of things. People's mothers, people's this, people's kids, people's families, people's whatever. And the fans do not turn away. I mean, for goodness sakes, man. Just consider the things that Conor said about Dustin Poirier's wife, about Khabib's wife. Motherfuckers are still going to line up and sell out the arena and sell out the pay-per-view to watch that motherfucker fight. And he's losing. I am not a media guy. I don't have any media training really. but I definitely know that it doesn't even make sense to ask a question like that, because you're going to listen. If I'm trying to get somewhere, I want to know some shit that everybody else doesn't already know. I want to figure out a question or some questions that are different than everybody else's question. And I'm not trying to prod this guy. I want him to be able to answer me, and I want him to be able to answer me in the future, so that I have legit reasons to post something and for people to watch me. Because if it's just clickbait shit, then who are you really? Like, what are you really trying to do? I mean, it's just, to me, it's just gotten really kind of crazy. Like, I know what Sean Strickland's going to say. You ain't got to ask him. I already know. I know how Dana's going to react to it. The fans do not care, man. They don't care. You know, I'm sorry that you feel like you had to go out there and try to push whatever it was you were trying to push and get people to change their minds, and maybe they're going to cancel Sean and this and that and this and that. But please let me explain that there's a ton of money involved, first of all, and they are not letting their pockets get pulled by you. It's just not going to happen. And I'm not saying you don't need to stand up for whatever your causes are, but maybe not this particular moment. This is not the time or place. Nothing good is going to happen from it. Anyway, don't ask hurt people questions about society, because society has failed them and their answers will reflect it. Anyway, so the fight went like this. Sean Strickland went out, jabbed the shit out of Dricus Du Plessis for the first 2 rounds. Du Plessis he has like 5 or 6 techniques that he really likes to use, and plus, a good double leg or whatever. But he's one of those guys, man. I didn't see a whole bunch of different stuff. It was, big hook with like a sort of a cross-ish thing, and then it was like an overhand sort of an uppercut-ish shovel kind of thing, and it was the spinning back fist, and it was a step-up high kick, and it was a few low kicks that some of those got checked, and then it was a body kick left side. What else? Couldn't match the jab. Didn't have like super combinations. He does blitz a little bit, but look, he got going in the 3rd round. He landed a couple of shots. The overhand right, or the right hand for him, started to land pretty good. He landed an elbow or a headbutt, or maybe it's both. But either way, Strickland got cut open. Was wearing the crimson mask going through the 4th and 5th. And I think that Du Plessis won the 3rd and 4th for sure. So to me, it was 2-2 going into the 5th. And in my mind, Sean Strickland did 75% of the work, if not 80% of the work in the 5th round, and did not get robbed by the judges. But he definitely got, if it was 2-2 going in the 5th and they gave Du Plessis the 5th, then yeah, he definitely got robbed. I didn't see the scorecards. I should probably look them up. Du Plessis is like a guerrilla fighter. He doesn't look super smooth and technical. Sean Strickland did a technical brawler's work throughout the fight, 3rd and 4th. I don't know if he just started getting a little fatigued, or if he just kind of, having a guy that's kind of big and gorilla-like coming at you constantly, you're going to get caught with some stuff. And maybe he slowed down at points, and maybe he was buying some time at points where he wasn't being active, and it cost him a little bit. But in my mind, he went out there in the 5th and he fucking went off. Jab, 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 all this other stuff. He was, he just stayed busy. And at the very end, he was winging. And to me, he was landing a lot more than Dricus. And I think a lot of people felt that way. Dricus called out Adesanya to come back and for them to finish their business or whatever it is. I'm with it, man. I'm with it. And I think the problem that Dricus is going to run into is that he can't fight Adesanya the way he fought Sean Strickland. And to me, Dricus, I'm not saying he's like a one-trick pony, but I believe he has a certain set of skills, and he likes to use that certain set of skills. I haven't really seen him do a lot other things to make me seem. I feel like even his grappling is a certain way. You know, his stand-up's a certain way, like the way he moves is a certain way, and that's that. Because it's effective. It works. The thing about Sean Strickland is he likes to intercept, and like he's jabbing as Dricus is attacking. Whereas Israel, like Adesanya, likes to counter more. He likes to feint, get you to react, and then counter. He didn't counter in the Sean Strickland fight, which cost him the fight, because he couldn't get Sean to react to the feints. Dricus du Plessis, mark my words. Mark my words. Dricus du Plessis will bite on the feints. It's built into him. He's gonna bite on them. And I'm not saying that Adesanya's going to win just yet. We're not even there. Fight hasn't been announced. Nothing's been done. I'm not, making my picks. I'm just saying that based on their styles, it looks to me like Dricus, first of all, is going to bite on feints, and Adesanya will attack on that. I also think that he's going to get countered quite a bit with his wild style. Now, Israel has to make sure he's not doing an Anderson Silva against Dricus, because Dricus' arms are longer than I think people realize. So when he's throwing these wide, wild punches, you can't lean back and think you're going to be out of the way. And I feel like that's what Sean kind of did. He was able to get out of the way early when his legs were fresh, and then later when his legs weren't as fresh and he had gotten more comfortable. When Dricus would throw those overhands, he wasn't quite out of the way anymore, and he was starting to get caught on the chin there and on, sort of the shoulder and the chin. And the longer the fight goes on, the less your feet want to go, the easier it is for somebody to get one of those in, especially when they really, really are like, needing to score desperately. And I think that was what was happening to Dricus, and going in the third and the fourth, is he was like, I have to score. He's missing. Sean's defending with that, sort of MMA Philly shell, and he's checking some kicks, and like he's landing a couple of things, but Sean's just jabbing his fucking face off, eyes swollen, face is swollen. So against Israel, we're looking at a situation where Israel can counter him, feint him, get him to bite on things, and basically touch him up throughout the fight. He's going to have to defend the takedown, obviously, which I think he can do. But man, I feel for Sean Strickland. I still think he's got a great, obviously, future ahead. Got to be champ, and he's done fantastic work, and I think he won that fight as well. But it is what it is. I'm not a judge. I'm just some dude watching at home. We're going to talk briefly about this Mayra Bueno Silva versus Raquel Pennington fight. Congratulations, Raquel Pennington, because, longevity's a motherfucker. That is one thing I will tell you about the fight game. First of all, it is not a game that you're going to be in a long time. So you have to applaud those people that are. I don't know how long Raquel's been in, but maybe 10 years or something like that. Maybe a little longer. I don't know. Somewhere in there. But she has taken some beatings. She's been up and been down and everything else. And she was fighting a woman in Mayra Bueno Silva that on paper, and if you're watching fights, you're like, that girl is a killer. And not only is she a killer, but she is talking like a killer. Which, during the press conference, I thought, I don't know. Pennington didn't seem confident, but she seemed calm. And that was like the important thing to me. Bueno Silva was like, your fights are boring. Your fights, everybody sleep when you fight. All this stuff. And like, maybe that's true. But I think Pennington was on like a 5-fight win streak. And maybe it's boring. But maybe you should have stayed up and watched. Because maybe then you would have had what you needed to counter all of those strikes that she was throwing. It wasn't a fantastic fight. It's pretty lame. Mostly lame on Mayra Bueno Silva's part, because she did not bring it the way she usually does. And all that fire and shit talking. It was the Colby Covington. She gave us the Colby Covington. Mayra Bueno Covington versus Raquel Pennington for the bantamweight title. And Raquel Pennington touched her up, got out of all of her submissions, touched her up, and tried to finish with submissions of her own. And I mean, finish the fight standing on her feet, kicking the legs of on her back, Mayra Bueno Silva. That is not the way you win a championship fight, or even, man, see you in 2 years. You know, if you stick around, see you in 2 years for the title. And that's where longevity is big, because Raquel Pennington has stuck around through thick and thin, through everybody coming and going, through the title passing hands and changing hands and whatever else. And her opportunity knocked, and she got it. She gave us the Michael Bisping. She gave us the Tyron Woodley. Listen, congratulations to her. Longevity is hard to do. Like, that's also what it takes to be a champion. It takes the ability to deal with all the ups, the downs, the sideways, the injuries, the knockouts, the bullshit from the crowd and the public and from the media. It takes all of that and still being there when the opportunity arises, and you saying, you know what? I don't give a damn what anybody says. I'm taking this one. And she did. It is what it is. And that will lead me to this. I was supposed to compete in jiu-jitsu this weekend, and it did not happen because I didn't have a competitor, because I'm a little bit older, and there's not often a competitor in my bracket. It is what it is. That's how it goes. But my sensei competed, and he won gold, which is awesome. So that's dope. Congratulations, professor, sensei, coach, Roberto Carrero. Congrats, man. You killed it. And then my other fighter was supposed to have his debut as an amateur fighter. Shout out to Lewis, but he got COVID. So those two things were off the table. But Coach Broccoli is going to be fighting for the PFL amateur title next month. And this is longevity. And he's been doing this for a long time. Hasn't had that many fights and so forth, but he's definitely put in a ton of work. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, it's time. You know, like at some point I was telling him that you have to decide, what am I doing now? Am I just fighting because I love it, or am I really trying to go win? And I think this is his opportunity for sticking around so damn long and putting in so much damn work to bring home a title. So, Coach Broccoli, let's fucking go. The rest of y'all, I love y'all. That's the show. If you like the show, keep the like, hit the subscribe button, tell a friend, drop a comment. If you want to stop by the gym, hit us up, www.luckysmt.com. We want to hook up with you and get you started in this Muay Thai stuff, man. So what's up? Drop us a line.
This will take a good man and exchange him to a villain. When the system's been set up by racists trying to kill him. I just want to live my life and make it